Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to East versus West.
Welcome, everybody, to another Sunday Night Casual. Now, before we begin, one of the things that I've been considering for a while now is in the past, I would do the Under the Table series where I would interview an athlete or someone in the industry and just get a background of that person, right? What they do, what are their hobbies and everything, just so we can get to know them from a more emotional standpoint. Now, we have since launched a project whereby we are dispatching professionals to visit the SID athletes at their own place of training where they work. So we won't be ready in time for Vienna, but we should have some stuff. Well, actually, technically not true. We will have at least one video of one of our athletes coming out before Vienna, but the rest would come out before Germany. And it's going to be much, much, much higher level content rather than just a podcast type setting. And so I used to do that on Thursday now, and then the only available time that I have kind of to do this, it's Sunday. But now without doing that on Thursday, I'm considering moving just my weekly thing on Thursday. So and the reason being is so that Sunday I could just focus the whole day on family stuff, right? But anyway, oh hey guys, and without fail, Pam, I gave you everything you need, so I don't owe you any receipts. But anyway, so this week is rather interesting because we've been working on, as you guys all know, that now every athlete and started in Atlantic City, we gave out those athletes code which grant fans of our extended pass pay-per-view to purchase with a discount, but just strictly the extended pass. Now, after deliberating and looking at all the data, we felt like in order to grow grow the sport, let's expand that to also include the main event pay-per-view, right? So I'd say if you're buying the pay-per-view, find a code. It will save you some money, but more importantly, if you're an athlete or a content creator, you also are eligible to apply for a code. Just throwing it out there. Now, even if you're an athlete that is not competing during one of the events, like example, right? This time we have 24 athletes is competing. Now, if you're not one of the 24, but you could still apply for a code. Now, I didn't open it up to everybody. Anybody who applied automatically got one. That's not what I did because I wanted to control. Imagine if like 100 people or 1,000 people had their own codes, then all of a sudden, like everybody would only maybe get a couple pennies, well, not pennies, a couple of dollars, right? And it wouldn't be worth the effort. So I wanted to make sure that I tightened things up and slowly expanded it as I saw numbers. So that's kind of what I'm kind of thinking. So yeah, so content creators, if now we've already closed it for Vienna. So those that approached me during the first week and a half, we've got applications and we've already submitted that to the tech team to set up your codes. Now, for everybody else who missed the boat, fret not. I'll be reviewing it from event to event. So if you had a code but you weren't able to push content out enough during this time, then perhaps we might have to use that slot for another content creator. But automatically, every athlete gets one. Let's see. Now, one of the big things that we are also doing a little bit different now, it's a lot of people have been asking, hey, that code doesn't work for everybody. Uh, well, for everything at the store. That's correct. But I'm pleased to announce that we are now completed, and I've been working on this with with the tech team, and we have completed initial phase of an affiliate type program at EVW. So what this affiliate program would allow you to do is you could share sort of a link with your, just if you're a content creator, if you're just an influencer or an athlete, you could share a link. And when they click the link and purchase anything at evwsports.com, anything, right? They will automatically give you we will give you a percentage of what their spend is, barring shipping and taxes. But everything else, you get a percentage. So that's kind of like the model that we are going, because we feel like there's a lot of hardcore fans out there that they are just so supportive of EVW, right? Matter of fact, this very chair yesterday, I spent a couple of hours with one of my moderators, Benji Mack, who does a lot of BTS at events too. So he was at my place, and another guy who, prior to be part of EVW, helping us with all the miscellaneous things, he was a big fan of arm wrestling, and he would drop a couple $100 per event on merch. Correct. So the way that I think it's best to structure things is to help also reward those kind of, you know, uh, supporters in this way. So we will create a program that I think would be in sort of a win-win area, like uh, ambassador type programs, right? For our media type, where ambassadors get special access to behind the scenes, but they don't have to pay for their own tickets per se, right? So I just think it's pretty good to have those. Now let's see. We have lots of messages. A whole bunch of people are speculating who Rickert is going to pull. Oh no, sorry. Rickert and Duvon's going to pull. Rickert versus Sonogo. Rickert versus Felix Heffler. Rickert versus Dennis. Rickert versus the Legacy Hammer. Oof. Yeah. Yeah, that's right. That's right, Phil. The ambassador type program. I mean, I really like the ambassador type program because we have a lot of you know, silent supporters, which is that's perfect. But we also have a lot of very vocal and proactive supporters, just like yourself, Phil, right? Phil, Drew, Benji, all these are very vocal, and I think the one way that we give back is to uh, uh oftentimes people look at this from a volunteering standpoint, where they could spend hours and hours and just supporting us, right? Just volunteering the time, helping us, and I think it's one way for EVW to share our appreciation to all our hardcore ambassadors per se, right? Because that allows them, because a lot of these guys, they take time away from work that actually generates them income to kind of help us. So whatever we can do to help them back, to alleviate them, that would be kind of helpful. So Houdini Sports has a question: to be a part of the program, what do I need to do? Like, willing to post stuff for you guys if it's not too hard. Now, we've kind of finished the text structure of the program, right? Now it's me working the math, uh, you know, working the math to see what the partnership payout would be, right? So, for instance, if something costs $10, right? That costs us $10, and if we sell it for $30, which means it leaves me $20 to play around to return back to the customer. Well, sorry, return back to the ambassador type program, right? So I don't know what that math is. I mean, here's another interesting thing. I could even go 2 tiers. 2 tiers meaning like say Houdini, right? You are first generation, and then you can also it's almost like uh a multi-structured type uh program where you could get your neighbor to be an affiliate as well, right? And whatever your affiliate downline sells, you get a cut of it. But I didn't want it to structure it where it becomes like, kind of a weird, messy thing. So it could be just one generation and let's call it a day. But yeah, so it's now just messing around with the numbers. There are certain things that we may want to try to control that number a little bit. So perhaps there's a distinction between high margin items and straight lower margin items, those kind of things. So I'm still figuring out the numbers part, but the text structure has already been built as of last night or 2 nights ago. So I've been working with the tech team, but numbers are not solid yet. So we might release that after Vienna. Now and how to be part of the program, we will have a dedicated site. So it will be a subdomain of EVW Sports. I'm not gonna share that yet because it's still in beta testing yet. Now, when that comes on, you'll be able to fill up the form and just agree to hold certain things. And that's all you need to do. And then once that happens, you'll be able to share links on your social media page, and then anybody who clicks on that link, they will download, well, what they call cookies. Now, when I say download, they don't have to manually download. It's an automatic thing. It traces back to you, and if that person purchases something, you get a percent commission off whatever that specific item is. And everything is tracked in US dollar. That's kind of the idea behind that. Uh, yeah, Adam Morzonski. Yeah, he at the Montana arm bender, right? I I don't have a big long history, of the athletes, but so when I see these kind of because Adam has not pulled since I've officially been in this position. So, but I've only heard of him because I believe he's pulled at the prior East versus West. It just shows that these athletes are really qualified to be on East versus West stage. So that one's pretty good. Uh, yeah, and Pam's already saying makes my job harder because of the payouts, really. But it really helps push the whole notion out there for East versus West to kind of grow. We also are gonna start pushing out a different kind of uh, merchandising in terms of potentially making things a little bit more exciting, not the more standard things. But we are gonna bring in a bigger range where there is the more affordable range where it's for people to just wear on a daily basis so they can spread, what arm wrestling is all about. And then we can bring in more like limited drops, like there'll be only a small run of certain items, those kind of things. That's kind of how we're shaking things up to increase the offerings that we have. Uh, let's see. I get it. Can we email you? Yeah, you know my email. Send it directly to me. And also here's one thing. We've been getting right now it's the whole customer support system. It goes to if you use our web email, well, our website's contact form, it reroutes in a funny way that it's kind of a mess. Well, it's not fully messy, but it's a lot better. But we are increasing the level. We are installing now a customer support, almost like a CRM type program, customer relationship manager, where it will be now designated where if it's a merchandising question, it goes to this this person who's over that in the company. And if it's ticketing, it will go over that. So we are gradually improving the system, but occasionally there will be sometimes errors with Amazon SES. So our mail servers will have errors. Uh, and there's so many reasons. It could be flagged as a spam sometimes. So then it might be put in the junk box, right? However, if you if that is the case, then I would recommend do not use the website's contact form. Email me directly at my email, dexter@evwsports.com. That's like a second backstop if you don't get responded within 48 hours. The reason why I say 48 hours, because though a lot of our team members, they try to work throughout the weekend, but sometimes they work throughout the weekend and then they take like Mondays off or something. So if by 48 hours you should get a response, that is kind of like the time that I kind of target. But hopefully it's within 24 hours. Yeah. So there's that. You can always email us this Jack Daniels 9292. A 90s street team was fan spreading a band's music. Look it up if you don't remember. We can do the same but digital. Send me an email. Again, I'm not very familiar with what 90s street team. In the 90s, I didn't know Backstreet Boys. That all. Any updates on Levon State prospect return date? I haven't spoken in a while, but he might return. Yeah, last I've heard, still on track. No changes. Hopefully, he gets. You know what? Now, obviously, I'm not privy to this information because it's been a while, but I want to see him on stage. The last time I heard was he was, trying to practice with his left hand now. So it'll be pretty fun to see him left hand on stage too. We know his right is like unbeatable, for now. But left hand, let's see. Somebody's asking about my orange glasses. It's called Gunner glasses, and what it does is, when I'm on screen for a really long time, it filters out the blue light so it doesn't hurt my eyes because I'm literally on my screen 16 hours a day, 18 hours a day. Especially, it's worse now because of the spotlight coming in, so I need to reflect some of it off. Else, I'll be like squinting half the time. But there's that. Hey, gents. We have Martin. Let's see. Here's another question from a Georgian fan. I'm guessing that's Georgian. Would you consider doing a surprise early release of a main event match on YouTube, like 1 or 2 days after the event, just to really run up the number? Okay, so here is the thing, right? The main numbers that most people would consider looking at, it's not our pay-per-view number. Sorry, it's not the view numbers on YouTube, but it's actually our pay-per-view numbers. Now, if we release the main event match early, that would incentivize people to not purchase the pay-per-view, which really hurts our bottom line numbers, right? Matter of fact, in most sports, they do not ever release their pay-per-view at all. It's always going to be behind a paywall, less the highlights perhaps. Maybe at most they release the highlights, but they will not release a full match, right? So the fact that it's being released right now a week after, it's already very generous. That's why when I initially, came on, when I look at the numbers, I'm like, why are we even releasing this at all? It should not be released. It should be always behind a paywall. At best, maybe it's hidden behind the membership channel or something, and then maybe a month later we can release it. But so we've been getting a lot of like pushback from the media companies, the external media companies that we're trying to partner. Is like, why are we even releasing our main event match? Now, granted, the one thing that really convinced me otherwise to release those eventually, like in a week, is that I think we're trying to grow the sport, right? So hiding everything behind a paywall right now it will definitely hurt the sport because there's not enough quality content out there, right? Compared to other sports, right? I mean, you look at say soccer, they're obviously the Premier League, the La Liga League, and the Bundesliga from the German. I mean, there's leagues everywhere, and then you have the world, the national, well, the country series by FIFA, right? So there's so much soccer content out there, right? That's and then other sports, there's like you know shows like events almost every week, whereas arm wrestling is not quite there yet. So to put it behind completely behind the paywall might hurt us, but there are also the pushback might come to a point where we may slowly release the main event match, maybe not a week after the event, maybe it's 2 weeks after the event. I don't know what the answer is, but we haven't made a definitive change to it yet. But the media company who is thinking of you know potentially coming into a partnership with us, one of those broadcast companies, they've already kind of our consultants have already been asking why are we even doing it. It hurts our pay-per-view numbers, right? Imagine this, right? If say we get a deal with one of the broadcast companies, streaming companies like say Netflix, right? I'm just gonna throw Netflix out. It's not Netflix, but assuming it's say Netflix, is Netflix gonna allow us to release our full matches on YouTube after it was aired live on Netflix? Very unlikely, right? So it might be a matter of time that, but again, Netflix is a lot more accessible, that which is the whole point of us trying to partner with a broadcast company. So it's less of a paywall. I mean, if you can get behind one of those big streaming companies, like say potentially ESPN, that would be really good for the sport because now it reaches more eyeballs beyond the hardcore fans. Now it's now I mean, say Saturday afternoon, the guy's waiting for his NFL game to start, and he's just flipping through the channels, and hell, arm wrestling's on channel. So, and that's how we can convert people. I think that's kind of why Robert and I we are so focused on trying to get our sport to the big masses. So releasing earlier, very, very, very unlikely. There it is. Um, yeah, yeah. And actually, to be honest, thank you everybody who now Phil is thanking us for supporting NG Rose. No, actually, it's the opposite. I think I would like to thank everybody personally for supporting Angie. Really, I mean that's I mean, Ron would be very thrilled to Ron and Angie would be very thrilled to know that the numbers were pretty good for the people supporting her. So very, very happy that very, very happy. Um yeah. Here's another comment. Sometimes small pirated YouTube clips can accumulate millions of views before the official release. Yes, I mean, now millions of views on those short clips, I can't do very much about it. But what we can do is we ensure the full length will not be accumulate. Well, will not see the daylight because we have a team that I hire that monitors social media channels and hunts and takes them down. So yeah. Uh, watch the Montana Armbenders tournament, Roy. Let's see. I mean, another comment here from our Georgian friends is would be nice to see how many views Devon versus Vitalik could really get if you release and strike while the iron's hot. That's true, but it's much better if those views were converted into pay-per-view numbers. So it's a number we won't ever know, unfortunately. But there's that. Um, let's see. Next comment. Oh, I've already mentioned the new news. The new news is that there is an affiliate program for a lot more people through our new affiliate program for our merch, and also includes in-person tickets. So everything at the EVW store that you see will now be part of the affiliate program that will be launched right after Vienna. So, well, thank you for staying up though, at Focus GT. But yes, so when the time comes, I will share the link and you guys can go to the website and sign up automatically. And within after a manual approval process, you guys will be able to get into the program, and then you guys could share your own link and generate sort of commissions based off the people who uses your link. So, oh, monster documentary. Yes, that should be released. That should be released very very soon. We actually finished. I need to review that. It's in my on my list to kind of see if I have any comments and approve it, and then it'll be live. That is one of them that will be released before Vienna. Arlejan and Morozov would not be booked for Vienna. That's not happening due to lack of time. We just don't have time to prepare it. We also already completed the posters. We finished printing a lot of items already, so it won't be in Vienna. But we'll see them soon. We'll see them soon. That's what I can say. Another comment here: basic economics. Don't give away products the day before you try to sell them. Fair. So most of the YouTube money we still retain, because that even though that they might get millions of views on their shorts, but shorts pay out very, 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 very little. Very, very, very little. If they get 1 million views, they'd be lucky to get more than a couple bucks. Right? Unfortunately, that's how shorts work. But if it's like a long form video, then we'll get quite a bit. So and again, they might be able to get away if their channel is small, but once if they get big enough copyright strikes will shut their account down. So these accounts usually aren't monetized yet, right? And if they grow big enough and they show enough of our and they pirate enough of our stuff, they will get shut down. So matter of fact, our team has shut down several accounts already. And I hope none of true EVW fans are doing that. Now, if you want just to be on the safer side, if you think you have something that might be okay to share before it being released, you can always contact me privately and DM me and have it unpublished, show it to me, and I could say yes, I could say no, and I'll tell the team not and to whitelist you. So yeah. Now Dreads 25 has a great idea. If I were you guys, I would just release highlights and one more later full videos. Now, you are not wrong. I always love that. However, our media team isn't big enough because now there are a couple of things that we have been doing in the past where as soon as the event's over, we have 12 matches, whatever. And then we have to start clipping them. We have to start cutting them up and breaking them up into 12 different videos. Now, that seems on the easier side, right? Then the second thing that we need to do is we have to edit out the copyrighted components of the video. And it's usually the walkout music. And come Germany. So we had a meeting earlier today where Germany especially, they have another kind of rule where if you're using specific music in the venue itself, then we would have to pay an extra, thousands of dollars to use those copyrighted music, right? If it's, a popular song. Now, because of that, we are looking at everything. There are a couple problems using those copyrighted songs, right? Is number one, for sure, we face this issue that we won't do it again. It's during the preliminary matches because it's air free on YouTube. We'll get a lot of copyright strikes if the athletes were able to use, their own choice of music, right? And so because of that, we are now limiting it to royalty-free music for their selection. Now, so that's one issue. The second issue is when we release the full match videos later on, and it's the same thing. So we have to edit them out. And here's the part that when you edit things out, it doesn't look very smooth because it doesn't they're not walking at the same tempo of the music, and occasionally the commentators might be speaking during the walkouts. Now that when we've replaced the audio entirely, that thing goes away. That the commentary is gone, right? And so it feels weird for that 60 seconds as they're walking out. So if athletes were to only use royalty free music for now, well, as soon as we are bigger and we have a bigger budget, then perhaps then we can spend thousands of dollars to get those, uh, you know, copyright songs used. But for now, we might want to limit them to using royalty free music to allow us to have a better smooth show. That is kind of the idea and the thinking behind it. So we might start that in Germany, where it might be a full event with just royalty free music. Now, here's another cool, super cool thing, right? Another kind of royalty free music that is pretty cool is AI generated music. I know a lot of fans don't like generated content to begin with, but a lot of TikTokers now, the new trend is to generate their own music and using them. That it's very close to a popular music. So yeah, if you haven't ever done one, you should try it. It's so much fun. It's pretty impressive, really. I've been playing around with it quite a bit. Maybe making one East versus West theme song. Let's see. Okay, so back. Okay, so it feels like I'm going back and forth with this German fan. Oh, sorry, this Georgian fan, which I can't pronounce his name. Uh, in response to that sentiment that pay-per-view is the main benchmark, I do get that point, of course. However, new fans are more likely to click on a video with millions of views rather than a couple thousands. Fair, but with everything said, I think the full match videos are very unlikely to be clicked by somebody who doesn't really know about arm wrestling, right? Somebody who doesn't know about arm wrestling will most likely be converted not by full match videos, but by actual fan made clippings, right? So so the vertical shorts kind of videos versus a full match videos. Let's see. Bogdan and Hugo could steal the show. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of. I mean, if so, technically, Atlantic City is the first card that was crafted hand in hand by Robert and Snozana, and it blew so many people away. It was such a good card. It's such a good card, and this card could yield similar or better results than Atlantic City in terms of upsets and unpredictability. I yeah. I think that's the most fun thing, right? It's not it's really not knowing who will win. I think that's kind of cool. Um, let's see. How can all these people are coming in late? I don't have to prepare. Now go if you guys have to go to bed in Eastern Europe, go to bed and watch the video from the start. And I've already jumped on it already. And are glasses more safe than turning blue screen off? I'm not sure what this is. Yeah, this glasses are super safe. Um, I know Gennady has reached out to Robert for a while, but I think Robert is just letting it ride for now. Mm, let's see. Let's Here's it. Another important thing before I go. You should go live at like 6 p.m. European times because every time you go live now, you're only getting comments from Americans because Europeans are sleeping. You're not wrong. Honestly, you're not wrong. And which is why I might change that to Thursday, which allows me to start a little bit earlier. But we'll see. We'll see. Or you could just watch it not live and or send me send me questions, you know, through my email and I'll answer it on the chat if it helps. Let's see. I can honestly say I've never watched a pirate stream. Yeah, way to go, Deeps. Way to go. Way to go. Man, good music really pumps you up though. I feel like that is a must. You're not wrong, which is why early, very, very early on, I was told even as early as EVW 16, like we gotta do copy, change that. But talking to some athletes, they're like, oh no, we really want how to pick our own song so that we can really get pumped up. The, you know, however, I think uh, given enough sort of notice, the athletes would be able to mentally prepare and get used to their new royalty-free music songs. You see what I'm saying? So that way, it gives them time to get accustomed to the song. Now, also to be fair though, right? I think that's we only have a very, very, very small handful of athletes that actually uses the same song for every event. Right? I think Matt Mass is one of them, but most athlete picks different songs every time they get on stage. So with that said, I believe that we potentially, right, may not have that big of an issue. Um, yeah. Let's see. Yeah, big issue in the Olympics right now for ice skaters using song without permission during a performance. Yeah, that's exactly right. And so we don't want to get into trouble. I mean, like that there is a restaurant near me, a Japanese restaurant near me, and they make the whole restaurant anime team where they're playing Pokemon, they're playing Dragon Ball, they're playing all sorts of anime on the big screen and everything, and they can get away with things, right? They can argue all day long. It's like, you see, I'm not getting in trouble. It's like, yes, but as soon as you try to get big enough, right? As soon as you start franchising your store, then you get slapped with a massive lawsuit and they'll backdate and the amount, right? So we don't want to be in that boat where, right? Example, right? We use say Backstreet Boys our official EVW theme song without paying them, right? And we skate by for a couple of years, and you see, yeah, no problem. Now, then when we get really big, we got like a $1 billion contract deal with Paramount, like UFC did. Then Backstreet Boys can now sue us and says, "Hey, you guys only got the $1 billion contract because of our song, and so therefore, a part of that $1 billion should belong to us, right?" So we never know when it'll get into trouble, and they can backdate everything. So it's always safer to err on the side of shouldn't do it unless we're going to pay for it if we have the money to do it. So there's that. Uh, good music is key. Oh, but and here's the other thing though, right? I told the athletes this time they're allowed to bring out. I'm gonna start with an entourage of maximum of two. I didn't want like an ungodly amount of people behind them. So I said, this time, starting in Vienna, walkouts are gonna be I'm gonna pay more emphasis on the walkout. I told all the athletes you're allowed to bring two-person with you walking out. You can bring props, just nothing racist, nothing offensive essentially. Uh, so that way we can make walkout more of a show. One of the things that I'm gonna encourage them, I can't force them really, but they have to find a way to bring it out with them is the defending champion holding his belt out. So either he can sling it, or one of his entourage guy could be holding it up in the air while he's walking out, right? Things like that. I think it creates much better entertainment than not showing it at all on YouTube, like Deeps is recommending. So there's that. Hey Andy, let's see. So yes, so the in 2027 for the 2026 award ceremony, the two new categories that are confirmed is best walkout is one of them, and the second that is confirmed, we might add more later, but the second would be uh best content creator. Now, we didn't do it last year because we were still trying to get our well, I mean, like we're still trying to figure things out. You don't know how to create such a long show. And so we limit it to the news media, right? People who produce news media, like news media first. But there's a lot of content creators out there they're making promotional type videos. They're making any kind of videos that are that really helps the sport, right? Fan made videos. It could be, yeah. So the only thing I would say is if we find the video sloppy, it when I say sloppy, there is the good kind of AI and there is the sloppy kind of AI, right? And I can kind of tell, like right now, me and my team, we actually kind of monitor AI quite a bit. And like right now, C Dance 2.0 is literally by far the best. Not Kling is the second best, and it's not even close. So we know AI generation, and if we see a AI generated video that is sloppy AI generation, which is probably like 2 lines of prompt with one starting picture, then you're probably not gonna be nominated if that's all your kind of video. But generally speaking, any type of arm wrestling content would qualify to be nominated. So just throwing it out there, guys. Content creators, you guys have the opportunity to be nominated and win the EVW annual awards. So let's see. A few still talking about intro music. I agree. Let's. Are your pay-per-views profitable or not yet? I thought people are not gonna mention this. It depends on events. That's probably all I would say at this point. Yeah. I would say no. Well, again, the glasses is also to help the glare a little bit. Just don't like it shining in my eyes. I had LASIK many years ago, which increased my sensitivity to light. Ever since then, it's a kind of a known side effect. It's not too bad, but okay. So here's another, uh, sort of advice from Adamantium Arm Wrestling. One way to advertise is through adjacent strength sport, for instance, grip sport, powerlifting, strongman, adjacent niches, and maybe fight sport. That way you get friendly flow traffic idea. So here's the cool thing, right? So one of our main partners, and I can say partner, is FIBO. So FIBO, they have over 150,000 attendees last year. And for our German event, we are going to be partnering with them really closely, where they are going to be even hosting us. They are going to be, I believe the plan, we'll be confirming everything on Wednesday, but we are thinking of having so for sure we are thinking to do our press conference at FIBO itself. And also we'll have potentially our meet and greet with the VIP and the dinner at FIBO. The only thing is that the venue that they provide us was too small. It can only fit maximum 800 people, and for sure this is going to be a killer of an event. So there's no way we could accept their venue. So we had to go off site for our venue that could fit 5,000. So that's kind of the target there. Oh, is it 5,000? I think it's 5,000. Yeah. Anyway, it's thousands and thousands more than what FIBO offered. But we're gonna do as much as we can with FIBO. They also offered us, booths, multiple booths. So we're gonna set up a booth there. We're gonna put tables out there. We're gonna have people, just letting people try how it feels to be at a table. Honestly, so that's kind of that's kind of the idea. Yeah. So I mean, it's a fitness convention, so it's everything. It's strength, it's weightlifting, it's powerlifting. I think it's the perfect place to kind of market arm wrestling out there. And I think FIBO recognizes, the growth of arm wrestling. Uh, the owner himself, if you look at his the FIBO owner, if you see his Instagram, he doesn't post very much, but he posted a picture that he took with Devin when they had their Riyadh FIBO last year. and he must have been enamored with arm wrestling ever since he met Devin. So that itself helped us, find that partnership with FIBO. So if you don't know anything about FIBO, check them out. So if you're thinking of coming, whether to come to Germany, I'd say go check out what FIBO is about and have the whole week all planned out there. It's FIBO and then it's our event and then it's back to FIBO on Sunday. Right? There's so much things going on. I recommend, start just buying your tickets right now before everything starts going up within the next couple of weeks. So FIBO. Let's see. Yeah, I mean the strawman are starting to come in. With everything, we have Brian Shaw pulling again in our German event. So, and he's a big part of the strawman community still. Let's see. I honestly didn't care too much about the Super Bowl. I spent more time at least watching some of the ads, but that's about it. I'm not I don't have too much time to sit down and watch a Super Bowl. Um let's see. Focus GT says 75% pay-per-view buyers are Europeans and 90% pirate viewers are Americans. That is completely false. Uh, that is not even close to what the numbers are. Not even close. Piracy. We are, one thing though, I would still urge. We have a hotline. Well, sorry, an email that if should we receive any tips on piracy, we have a team that takes it down. So we have. Let me confirm the email. And if you guys especially during the event or after the event, if you guys notice that or find or if you saw a link, saw a pirated link, can you forward it to our team? That would really, really help us when it comes to cracking down and taking them off before too many people see it. Let me find that list. User roles, mailboxes. We have EVW Sports. Now we have 1 second. Okay, so the link is our designated guy who takes care of all the copyright strikes. You could send it to copyright@evwsports.com. So copyright. That's the place to help take us down. I mean, yeah. Let's see. Dexter, have you spoken to Isa? Will he be back in Ermis Corner, Roy Lemon? Now that's more of a Robert thing. I when I spoke to Ermis, I think early this week, I didn't talk to him anything about Isa. It was something completely different. So that Robert might know better than this. Let's. What's your favorite Vienna male match on the card? And favorite Vienna. Ooh, okay, let me see. Let me see this list. Well, as the promoter, I should say all of them are my favorite, but I'm sure you guys are not gonna buy that. Uh, buy that. But I'm just looking right now. I don't know. I mean, the obvious answer would be Vitaly and Devon, right? But I think there is a lot to say about Petrenko and Todzilla as well. And the reason why I think that might be why to me that might be interesting. It's Todd's so dominant at his weight class that he had to go up, right? And it's just to see the limits of somebody who, what is he going to turn 60 this year? Is just to show how good somebody can be entering his 60s to be contending to be a world champion in multiple weight divisions. I think that's just it's not that it's a cool match. I think there's so many cool matches. Vitaly Devin, Camille Michael, that's all going to be cool. But what Todd is doing, I think it's inspirational to say. I think that's inspirational. And he started about, I think he started a couple years, 30 when he was 35, right? So it's not like he was training since he was a kid. So that to me, I think it's a little bit interesting. To me, it's interesting at least. Vienna. Okay, so Vienna tickets are in-person tickets are selling really hot, right? I know we have quite a number of people from especially the Eastern Europeans who are planning on flying in and paying the ticket in person because they for whatever reason they can use their credit cards. So I know we have a lot of the Eastern Europeans coming as well because they're also going to be competing at the tournament. So for everybody else, I'd say don't take the chance. Buy your in-person tickets now before it's sold out. And you don't want to risk. I mean, like even in Switzerland, I think I posted a picture where people thought like, I'll just buy tickets when I get there. And I hate to say this, but we were at past capacity, really. And we had people standing outside. Well, we opened the door so they could at least see from outside, but legally we've already way past outside. So don't be one of those guys who travel far and wide just to not be able to get into the venue because you think that we have a lot of tickets left for sale. So there's that. Savage Tripper release all the events on DVD for people to buy. I'd love to have the entire event instead of scrounging online for matches and such. Please find a solution. Okay, so right now, if you go to our YouTube channel, you will be able to see that we have been actively releasing all matches because right now a lot of our matches are all over the place. Some of it is on this channel, some is on that channel. So we have started consolidating them. We've already reached out to like say Larry Wheels and Dawn's Core Sports old channel. We've already started taking those and started putting back into our own channel. So if you go to our channel and you search under our channel, you should be able to find a lot of the older ones. We are releasing it in batches, slowly, just in order to fill the gap. So YouTube and algorithm will see that we are very consistent in uploading things. So that's exactly what we're doing. And I love the feel of watching the entire event. That's right. As soon as everything is copyright free, then we can release the whole entire event without doing any major type edits. Let's see. Is Alijan versus Morozov confirmed for the next event in Germany? I don't believe so because there's always that function of getting confirmation of any type like that. I think it would have to be signed. So until they sign it, we won't confirm nor deny it. But stay tuned, right? For something as big as this, I'm sure we'll probably arrange something where it's a live podcast and we are announcing it on the live podcast if it comes to that. So let's see. Do you offer another question? Mr. Dre says, do you guys offer a pay-per-view for bar settings? I asked a local bar about it. They're worried about getting in trouble. So yes. So actually every event I get asked about commercial licenses. So yes, we do have a commercial license option. Contact me directly, Dexter at evwsports.com. And we have a commercial license for and because I am wanting to share the sport and grow the sport more, it's not very expensive. It's very, 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 very affordable, and bars would absolutely love it. Absolutely love it when they hear what you know what we are kind of charging them. Because hopefully not only arm wrestlers are at the bar. If they allow non-arm wrestlers at the bar, then at least we can grow the sport that way, right? There'll be arm wrestlers sitting at the bar watching it, and maybe they fall in love with it, right? So that's it. Contact me if you guys want any commercial license. Um, and I might consider having an agreement with commercial settings like bar owners. If they hit me up, I might put a specific tab on our website to list your bar down as a place where you guys show our events, right? So it's not very much money for marketing, but it is an official commercial setting where you could go and watch the pay-per-view if you do not have the subscription or the annual pass yourself, or you just don't, right? So it's another place for you to do. So I urge all F&B or you know any commercial guys, please contact me. We would love to host and help you guys sell more drinks or whatever by referring people to go to your establishment. But at the same time, contact me, and that's the only way for me to help you. So there's that. Do you guys help or plan to help athletes get big sponsors? I could imagine if someone like Devin or Lavon sign with, yes, say Nike, that would bring a lot of minds to the sport. So last year, as we were trying to navigate all the business and operational aspect, we were, we got our feet wet a little bit, and I feel we got a really good, solid stronghold in terms of the sport right now that we can move forward a lot faster, which is why you could see this year. I mean, if you see how many more sponsors we have this year in Vienna compared to on average of most events last year, you could tell that like literally we have 2 co-title main sponsor that have signed for the entire year, right? So compare that with last year, not even close. So once we ourselves have a good understanding of the whole sponsorship part of the sport, then only we can take some of those and pass it off to our athletes. So yes, I mean one of the things that you've seen that we've done is we started in Arlington last year was with Infinity Functional Performance, right? IFP. They started with us. We kind of talked to them. We did a lot of introduction. Glenn is great to work with. We got them in touch with a lot of the athletes. We try to give them a lot of exposure, right? A lot of recognition. And so that's one way of helping them. But in terms of Nike level, not quite there yet, but potentially, because the way that I see things is like UFC also has, I think they had it with Reebok, I think at one point, and then they switch over to Venom, I think, Venom apparels. So if we can get an apparels deal, then all our jerseys and our apparels all come strictly only from Venom or an apparel company, that would really help, right? Because then now all our athletes naturally get fitted with a whole bunch of free apparels, right? So that is like an extension of sponsorships as well, but we're not quite there yet. It is one of our focus this year to kind of grow sponsorships that way. So, will Mike's match with Lavon be taken away if he loses against Camille? Now I think it's phrased the wrong way. I don't think Lavon's match would be taken away, but you should look from the point where it's when Mike wins, will he get to pull Lavon? And because here's the thing though, right? We don't even know Lavon can pull, after Germany yet, right? Because he might take a longer time recovering. So I know Michael has been talking about this for a while, but the thing is, from a promoter and management standpoint, we cannot guarantee that Lavon will be healthy enough to pull, even if Mike wins or loses. You see what I'm saying? So let's not get ahead of ourselves yet, and let's just focus on Mike's upcoming match. But yeah. Let's see. Have you Deeps asked another question. Have you got it where you can at the okay, so I think it's a grammatical error there where you can pay the event with crypto for foreign countries? I didn't think about it. I didn't think about it for a second. Getting paid in crypto. Let me think about it. Let me think. Right now, no, I haven't really thought much about crypto. Crypto is so volatile. I mean, we could consider USDT or something, but it's so volatile. If we accepted payments in Bitcoin, we would have probably lose our pants. As I mean, Bitcoin's almost half of its high now, right? At 60-ish thousand. So I don't know. It's crazy. All publicity is good publicity. I don't know if that's true to a certain way. We never want to be infamous for something. You know, I'll give you an example that scared me quite a bit. So the venue in Vienna, because you know how we will have seats behind the stage right now, so there'll be, and because of that, they're on stage. They need some sort of fall protection because they could fall backwards, right? And so one way to help with that is to shove everything up, shove the stage against the wall. So there's nothing to fall. They have that wall to protect them from falling backwards, right? Then it got brought up by the AV team that a 1.5 ton, so it's about 1,500 kilograms worth of LED screens is hanging above those fans. Do we want to take the risk for anything to happen? Now, obviously, it's probably pretty safe. The likelihood of something going wrong is really low. But do we want to take that risk should that 1,500 kilograms of LED screens falling on fans' heads? So answer is not. We won't take that risk, even though we're okay, but we're not going to take that risk. So yeah, it's just one of those that will give me anxiety the whole show, me watching the whole rigging to make sure it doesn't fall. But anyway, point being is no, not all publicity. Yeah, okay. Now this guy, I agree with. The guest design says no, not all publicity is good. That's right. So there's that. Can't wait to have Hermes back competing. Yes, yes. Now, just everybody know he is coming as a special guest. I think he's also helping commentate here and there for Vienna. So if you want to see Hermes, you can come to Vienna and shake his hand. Let's see. Oh, I'm frozen. That's a little odd. So people saying my screen's freezing. Let me see if it's fixed. Any ideas where the blue black EVW hoodies will be back in stock? Okay, so here's a new merch item drop. The new merch item drop. Oh, you know what? This would be really cool. I think for my live stream every week, I should also release new merch. One second. Why is my screen really frozen? Let's see. Let me restart my camera a little bit so that way it's okay. Now that was like 14 minutes ago, so I'm probably late. But yeah, so maybe I should release the designs for all our upcoming merch. And a lot of them usually comes in batches that we will print once and we don't do it again. And we will probably change and tweak the design. So the whole blue black EVW hoodies are officially out of stock once we sell out. I think we only have a few left. And of different sizes, and then we'll move to the new ones. So the new ones would be very similar to that. We'll have it both in blue and red, but it will be zipped up. Okay, so it'll be zipped up. Plus, it would have a little bit different. So it will have East versus West and King of the Table on both sleeves. We will have EVW Sports on the front left chest. And on the back, the emblem has now been updated to include King of the Table as well as East versus West in one big emblem. So that's the new design. And we will start selling it. We'll start selling it. Well, our shipment will arrive end of this month, and we'll sell it at the event in Vienna. With you just so you don't have to pay for shipping if you come to Vienna. If you know anybody who's coming to Vienna and you want some, and to save on shipping, have your buddies buy it back for you, so that way they don't have to. Yeah, so that's the safest. So you can save a whole bunch of shipping, because once we bring it back to America and ship it back to Europe, especially, that would not be good. It'll be pretty pricey, right? So let's not do that. What if you start advertising during UFC fights or buy a spot on Octagon? Ooh, I don't know. I think they charge quite a bit of money to be up there. I mean, UFC, it's pretty expensive. I'll have to think. I'll have to think about it. I don't know if they would allow us to advertise a competing combat sport on their platform. It'll just be weird, right? Let's see. Defense, you are on the roll. This is not politics. Okay. A lot of political stuff. I'm reading this. There's a lot of conspiracy theory going on my chat list. So I'm scrolling down pretty fast. Yes, there is a big delay because the messages comes on faster than the time that I used to respond. So there is it's not the delay, it's the message is coming fast enough, but I just here, you know what? I'll put this up so you guys can see it. It's not the delay, it's just me reading it slow and responding it before I can read all of them. We should have 23. Dude, Savage Tripper, does people even still buy DVDs? Honestly, if I have a DVD player at home right now, that would make me pretty antique. But I don't think I can even play a DVD right now. Will you do Netflix pitch or other for EVW channel? Yes, we are in the middle of working with a streaming company. So that's something's happening. So we're actively working with that. We're actively working from the sports betting standpoint as well. So we're working a lot of, but all those takes time. All those takes time. We've already had several meetings. All those takes time. Wow, the chat's a whole bunch of conspiracy theory things right here. Yep, I think I would try to get into bars big time. Yeah, that's right. So if you have a favorite bar that you go to, yeah, pitch the owner, says, hey, I know the owner of EVW Sport, and I would like to see if I could get you a deal on the commercial license, and then reach out to me, be the middleman, and yeah, we'll make it happen. We'll make it happen. But unfortunately, I don't have a team or a manpower to have a sales guy to go around to every bar in the world to sell our stream to them, right? And I'm not selling for a lot of money right now to those bars, for the reason it's just really so we can identify who that is, put it on a website, and showcase where they can watch the stream in a public setting or next to nothing. So there's that. We were considering, doing something like that, sort of a tiny fundraising thing, potentially, not yet. It's one of our low priorities thing. We just haven't done so, but I think it'd be really fun because that way everybody could feel more invested. They could really feel invested, and they feel like they have a strong voice that they can help shape their favorite sport. I think it's great. It's just not quite there yet. Italy. Yeah, potentially. I think 2026 might not be it, but 2027 will probably be a lot more likely. I think 2027 we might have a little bit more of an opening. Yeah. So there's that. Yeah, yeah, hit the like guys. Let's see. TikTok editors has multi-million views. Every single YouTube, lots of paper revise come from TikTok. I don't know why EVW is not paying attention to TikTok. I It's the best platform to sell pay-per-views. I mean, we do have a TikTok account. Yeah, we do have a TikTok account, and a lot of the videos that you see us posted on our Instagram or YouTube or Facebook, it's also in TikTok. We mirror everything. Yeah, let's go. You should at least accept PayPal, by the way. You would be incredibly good for people who don't want to input their credit card credentials 20 times a day. Do people still do that? Putting their credit card information manually? Because if you use like a Chrome browser, it saves your credit card information. You click one button, it fills everything up. But that's aside. That's besides the point. We do accept PayPal. So at the very bottom, one of the options is PayPal. We have activated it. So there's that. Except the pay-per-view. The pay-per-view runs under a different platform, so I have to go look into that. So I'll have to think about that. Okay, I'm 9 minutes behind. It's not that bad. Sorry, Mythical Beast. 9 minutes is not that bad. Does Hooters still exist? Yes, it does. And I've never been into one, but I remember studying this, the Hooters franchise concept. I don't know how much you want to get into it, but the funny part about Hooters is that the original founders, they sold the rights to I think it's a bunch of like 6 friends. They started Hooters and they wanted a family friendly concept that is more entertaining for the dad, I guess. And so they were successful. They had like a couple of locations, like 10 locations or something. And then a big PE firm came in, bought the rights to expand throughout the whole America. And they even did like an Hooters airline that lasted like 3 years. But ultimately, uh, I think service fell or something, and the PE firm who ran outside the rest of the country's Hooters didn't do very well, and so so I think they all closed shop, but except the founding team. So that's I think Hooters United and Hooters LLC or something. So the original founders still manage X amount of Hooters, and they've been pretty vocal about how the other Hooters are not are ran incorrectly because the food isn't good or something. But so I believe they're still around, just not. It's a different group of Hooters. Yeah. So I have. Let's see. Any plans on partnering with other leagues, let's say WAF winners, but possibly gaining entry to a match at EVW? Oh, bro, that's everything. That's what we are absolutely doing. Absolutely doing. I mean, look, we have WAF winners. If you see our lineup, the more you actually pay attention to their background, you'll see a lot of them are WAF winners or winners of a big tournament like the Swiss Open, where there was 25 WAF world champions participating at the tournament. And so if you won that tournament, it really solidified who you are in the arm wrestling world, which is why we brought in a bunch of them. And you start seeing more and more of these new faces coming in, right? You'll see a lot of them coming in. So, yeah, I mean, now other leagues. I mean, another league that I think we cannot officially partner everything with, but we are in very good relationship with is with Mac. So you know, Robert, we talk to Ian quite a bit here and there, and so share some matchmaking plans here and there. Uh, but because they are not WAF aligned, we got to be a bit careful about how closely we are related to them. But yeah, so I mean, we are friendly to other leagues. Now, obviously, there are some leagues who are out to get us, right? They're out to take over or whatever, or badmouth us or whatever. So those are no. So not every league that we'll partner with. Just but I mean, look at going across Europe, you'll see that say Vienna, we are partnered with the Austrian arm wrestling group, right? That's another league. Uh, and say Germany, Arm Havoc. That's another, we are partnered with, what's his name now? Not Trevor, Torben. Yeah, see? Yeah, so matter of fact, we had a meeting earlier this morning. So yeah, we are all about partnering to try to expand and grow, in consistently. So that there is that. Uh let's see. Here's another question from Mythical Beast 953. Since you have a pretty firm stance on opposition competing at your event, rightly so, what about Ingot if he decides to compete? Will he be allowed as an athlete? Uh hmm, that's more of a Robert Baxter question because he's the one having the direct relationship with Ingot. So I'll sidestep that question a little bit. Um, so there's that. But opposition competing at our events, are you talking about in the tournament or at the super match event? Because if it's a tournament, will most, especially if it's an open tournament, we won't probably regulate it very hard. But if it's a super match, it's us to decide who to put on the card. So that would be, I'm not the official matchmaker for the company. I can give my opinions. But ultimately Robert gets to decide on who ends up being on the card. So that's more of a Robert question. Let's see. Let's see. Here's another question. But in a way, for the same reasons, Ryan Bowen cannot compete right now. Not that's different, since he also basically went against EVW. Well, that's back up for a second. Back up for a second. Again, I need this clarified because he is more than welcome to compete at the tournament. Now, to pull at the super match type, like, okay. And also to clarify, I think going forward, King of the Table is the tournament arm of the company. So if and East versus West is a super match arm. So if he wants to pull at East versus West, now he needs to be qualified enough, right? He needs to be good enough to pull at that level. We need the absolute top guys pulling, right? And now obviously we make exceptions here and there, right? But at the same, because we don't know how good the new blood is, so we can make small exceptions. But for a known person at Ryan Bowen, I think Robert has said that Ryan is almost that level, right? Almost that level. He's almost there. But so it'll be mostly solely based on that specifically. So yes. When will be a ref match happen? Ooh. Surprisingly, I'm trying to think. I think almost at least our main refs, right? We know our main refs. We have the three main refs: Bill, Christo, and our head ref Luke. I know for sure all of them are pretty good arm wrestlers. I know Luke and Christo always tries to compete at the tournament of usually the day before or you know the day of. So I know they're pretty strong. So that would be that'd be fun. Might be fun. So there's that. Let's see. Here's Crystal and Luke. I wonder if they're the same weight category. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Oh, here's one of our, speak of the devil, one of our very, very loyal sponsor, Constantine. Go check out his channel. He actually has composed a song for East versus West. I don't know if you have it. Post it. So yeah, Constantine, if it is post, you're welcome to share that for everybody to to listen to it. It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. Luke's bigger. Luke's bigger. Hmm. Another question on Mythical Beast, and in regards to being an affiliate, to being affiliated with EVW and actually be invested in it as a company as well as Armor 6 side, do you have an established channel already? Like Voice of Armor, so like Coach Ray channel. I'm not quite following. So are you saying that we have a like an established YouTube channel like East versus West arm wrestling? Yeah, we do have an official channel. Here's another question. Chandra Sally, will they put more light on 70 kg division at EVW in the future? Those categories can be very entertaining with strong, high speed athletes. Oh yes. Generally, me being light. No, actually, I'm not that light. I wish I was 70 kilograms, but no. Yeah. However, right now, I think somebody actually in our team actually mentioned one really cool, interesting fact. Okay, one interesting fact is that when a sport matures to the point where even the lightweight guys gets a lot of attention, that's when you know that the sport has achieved mainstream level, right? I feel like we're in the precipice of becoming mainstream, but right now, just because we haven't gone through that barrier, we haven't pushed through that barrier yet. It's the heavier guys, the open weight guys, gets most of the attention. But I think we're really, really close. So as soon as that happens, boom, big. I think the lighter weight guys will also get the same attention. Also, the females. I think the female category will also be just as popular, if not more popular sometimes. So not quite there yet. However, to answer your question, Sally, we also have the Asian EVW division opening up in the very near future, right? Now, their focus is going to be on the lighter weight categories, which tells me that it would be some sort of a feeder system, because EVW Asia would be able to host, you know, maybe a hair lower type event, right? And eventually, we will be able to assess, because we're gonna start mixing some Caucasian athletes in with the Asian. It's not just strictly Asians get to pull there, right? We're gonna mix things a little bit, and then we get to judge the standard for the just more opportunities for athletes around the world to pull, right? And then it will act as a feeder league to the main stage. So that's kind of what I'm thinking about. Let's see. Roy's talking about eliminating microfiles. That's where casual lose interest. Now, this might be best if our head ref is on the podcast with me to answer those kind of questions, specific microfiles. Because here's the thing, though, right? Depending on the camera angles, and this has been said many, many times, depending on the camera angles, to you it might seem like a microfile, like maybe he was only up like 2 millimeters. It's a microfile, right? But from a ref standpoint, where they're literally like inches away from the elbow pad, that's maybe maybe 20 centimeters, whatever, right? 20 centimeter jump or whatever. I mean, there's a disparity in how you look at it from a monitor and how the refs see it in person. So based on that discrepancy, it's really hard to say if something is indeed a microfile or not. I think that's like, first of all, we need to get that out of the way. And then the next you want to see is, how much is what is the determination of what is a microfile? What's the definition of microfile? Because some microfiles to you is a microfile, but to another person, it's a foul, right? Imagine you're competing with a guy and he's doing a lot of microfiles and taking advantage of all the microfiles that's not being called. And eventually there will be a breaking point where too much is enough is enough, right? So So I think it's a balance, but we've already made like a point if if it's a small hop, no advantage gain, that's on a micro. I think that's like literally the biggest foul. And also it's the refs are constantly telling the athletes and warning them that they're in the foul, if they continue doing something, they'll get fouled out. So they are already being warned. It's not always audible, so and I talk about audible, and the reason being is almost every major sport out there, uh, you would not be able to hear the commentators in person if you were at the venue, right? And if you can hear the commentators, which means it's a clean audio feed straight direct into the pay per view, right? But because we do it for the in person fans as well, we have to lower the gain from the athlete and the ref down in order to not have the echo loop, right? The feedback. So that's why it's a little bit soft. So it's kind of a balance thing. Uh, so we're gonna try to mess around with it a little bit better to get like the perfect balance. But I mean, the biggest conversion for arm wrestling right now, in my opinion, it is in person. Uh, like I don't know, if you drag your neighbor to watch at one of the events, they'll be converted to be an arm wrestling fan, no doubt about it, right? So that's why we didn't want to neglect the whole experience for the in person as well. It's kind of a balance thing. Um, yeah. So here's a question. Um, oh, let's see. UFC 70 kilogram. That's good. Go watch it event. Yeah. Okay. So I've asked this question before. Go watch a WAF event talking about microfiles. Okay. Adamantium is correct. WAF is not designed to be watchable. It is okay. So the reason why WAF at a WAF tournament is so strict, even at our tournament, our King of the tournament would be very, very strict. And the reason being is that they have hundreds and thousands of, you know, uh, sorry, they have thousands of matches that they have to go through, right? If they are letting things slide, they'll take the entire week to go through the whole tournament. So they make it extremely strict so that even a little hop, even with no advantage gain in King of the Table, nope, it's a foul, right? So it being strict enough allows people to move on with the matches a lot faster, right? Else the refs would be just burnt out. So yeah, so unless it's on the main stage and there's time to take, then the rules can be changed for watchability. But WAF is not, yeah, that's right. Here it is. WAF is not meant to be a mainstream product. It's meant to tell who's the strongest and someone who adheres by the rule. So they're saying. Um, let's see. Another question. I would like to know if there could be a potential for a totally unbiased podcast. We basically have none. We either have peeps talking about sides or answering super chats only. I think I'm pretty unbiased because I'm not, as a promoter. I won't be on one side or the other side of the athletes because both athletes are part of the league. So I have to be very unbiased. If that's what you're asking. Now I have my own opinions that's independent of the league, right? And my opinions could differ from my partner Robert. So, but most of the time we keep our personal opinions, kind of mummed down a little bit. Better cameras for setup for replays would be sweet. I mean, we do have the 4 cameras that's eye level. That's what we use for replays. That's what the hit refs uses for replays. So we have that. Um, so are you saying I'll be able to watch the past events in their original entirety on some platforms So I don't need DVDs? Yes, absolutely. So go to YouTube right now. Go to our channel, East versus West Arm Wrestling. You'll see everything you need to see there. Well, if you don't, within the next few months, you'll see everything because we are slowly releasing all the old matches out. There's that. Um, so Deep's asking, why can't you just pick up the commentary from the audience speaker? We need to hear the athletes. Not not sure. We need pick up commentary from the audience speakers. Uh, yeah, yeah. We love you guys. Uh, and follow up. Mythical Beast says, correct. I just meant if there could be something official and promoted with someone who has a penchant for talking to the athletes, stuff like that. Could be another name. So you don't have an echo. Well, no, it doesn't work that way. So when the commentary speaks, right? Uh the commentary team speaks, it goes out to the loudspeakers, right? And the loudspeakers is played throughout the whole venue, which includes the athletes at the table. And the athlete's microphone, if the gain's too high, they'll pick up the commentary speaking, which has a slight delay to when the commentary people are speaking, right? So then you hear them like a fraction of a second later, which creates an echo loop. That's what I mean. Um, so well, anyway, I don't know. I passed 90 minutes. So it's been great. Another great Sunday. I might change my timing to Thursday. I don't know yet. But with everything else, any questions, anything that I miss, either put it on the comments after. I'll try to answer it. Especially apologize to the Europeans. Europeans are pretty upset that it's so late now. For those people, put the message down on the comments, and I'll try to answer them. So with that, I would say thank you and good night.